General, there's the question that was posed by my colleague, Commissioner Baloyi. Please respond.
Thank you, Commissioner. The risks that I have advised Mr. Matlala about is in relation to management of absenteeism. I was just applying my knowledge from my own experience where I come from. Management of absenteeism, should you have a serious problem in terms of members, your own personnel becoming sick, how are you going to mitigate that if, let's say, this number of people are sick and then you are unable to meet the requirements of a client? How are you going to deal with that? That is from my own advice that I was giving. And then another one, it is an issue of shortages in terms of resources in relation to if you get work and then you find out you get another work here and another work here at the same time because you are doing protection. How are you going to get additional resources and distribute them? So that you must be able to meet the requirement of the clients. But there are people who are specializing in other things. With us, we also have a number of risks and so forth. But these are things that you need to look at. And so I introduced him to a third party who has knowledge on also the actual security work, because me, I only knows mostly police work, but security, I'm not very much clued or highly clued up about the operations, because there's protection, like the bodyguards moving away with you. There are people who goes and got buildings and everything. And then I was just talking about in general about that and say, you know, when you do run a business, even us as at the department, we do have risks, but you must be able to look into this kind of risks, because the issue of management of absenteeism, the issue of dealing with shortages of resources, in the sense of manpower and vehicles, and then when people are off sick and so forth, you get more work, how to deal with it. Is that what I sometimes deal with it where I work? That is the things that I was telling him about. But more so, there are people who can assist you to enlighten you about other things. Then I link him to a person who has a security. I think not has a security, who knows these things of risks in terms of my knowledge.
Those are very specific risks or topics that you advised him to get assistance on. What did you know about his business at this point as relates to those two issues? That you deemed it necessary for him and his business to be advised or to get this risk assessment. What did you know?
There was nothing that was actually a risk by then. The only thing that I knew, it is when his firearm were seized. But when we were talking about this, it was a general talk that I have suggested to him. But in actual fact, in terms of these two topics, there was nothing that prompted that we have to do this. It was an issue of me discussing and saying, these are some of the issues when you're running a business. From my perspective, I'm not a business person, I'm a police officer, but these are the things that you may look at. And then he was comfortable and happy and say, hi, thank you. So those are some of the issues that we were discussing, commissioners.
So if you look at the same bundle that you've been discussing with Ms. Hassim and you go to page 2 of it,
Which bundle, Commissioner?
The one of three, the very one that you were looking at page.
Or the big one?
Yes.
Thank you.
At page 2, you were discussing page 3 with Ms. Hassan, but in fact, it seems to start at page 2, where he says at the penultimate WhatsApp message, he says he's the one that writes to you on the 25th of December at 17:18. He says, "Merry Christmas, Nduna. Sorry that night I met that guy very late, could not even notify you. I'm coming back again tomorrow, though he needs to give me feedback." Does that message have anything to do with the messages on the 28th?
No, I don't think so, Commissioner.
Okay, this is a different guy.
I can't even say which guy is this one.
Okay.
But
It's a different person.
Yes, Commissioner.
Okay. You don't need to say any more about it. Ms. Hassan will deal with it. Let's then go to that page 3 that you were looking at. So when Mr. Matlala says to you, "The guy I went to see really helped. I will tell you whenever you're back this side Monday. I'm starting with our project. Nothing is disturbing me anymore." What did you say you understood this to be when he says the guy I went to see? Because you say the guy referred to here is the person, the third party you referred him to. Did you understand him to say he's now discussed the risks in his company as you identified them, the two with the guy that he went to see, and now that they have discussed those risks, nothing disturbs him anymore? Is that how you understood this message relating to those two risks that you identified?
No, Commissioner. I don't know what was he discussing with the guy he went to see when he said he will come back and tell me. This topic never surfaced again, because after here, for me, I did tell him that this is what you need to look at when you deal with the risks. But the guy he went to see here that really helped him, I don't have a recollection whether it was directly regarding the very same risks that I have explained to him.
Okay, so you don't know whether the guy he refers to here is the risk person.
So
correct, you don't know.
Correct.
And you didn't ask him, what guy are you talking about? Because in the very next page, you say, "That's great news, my brother," which suggests you know what he's talking about. Either because you have the context to where he says the guy I went to see really helped, or you had a conversation with him, another conversation where he told you what this is about. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense that you say, "That's great news, my brother," when you have no idea what he's talking about.
Commissioners, there were several issues that we've been discussing. This one is specifically the one on page 3 for the risks. But now I hear you, Commissioner, when you go to page 4. You know, there are other issues that we're discussing are too private that I can't disclose here. That are too private to an extent that it's traditional issues that we were talking about, other issues, and then I want to request that I do not want to disclose those things here because they are very personal.
Yeah.
And that is why here I don't want to mislead the Commission and say this one relates to that one.
Okay.
So
I'm not asking you at this stage to disclose anything, General, that you haven't yet disclosed. I'm simply trying to understand. You, at page 3, you said, "I earlier understood you to be saying," and I may have misheard, "I earlier understood you to be saying the guy referred to in that WhatsApp message is the risk assessment person you referred him to. Now, in my exchange with you, you say you actually don't know. You didn't know what he's referring to. So you can't chop and change. It's either you knew what he's talking about or you didn't know what he's talking about." And my question is, well, you didn't know what he's talking about. You did not, in fact, what you do, General, He writes to you at 08:24, 21 seconds. You respond immediately at 08:25, 46. So that's your very next message. You say, "That's great news, my brother." Okay? And if you didn't know, the simple point I'm making is that if it is true that you didn't know what he's speaking to, at where he says the guy, you don't know what guy he's referring to, then the response at page 4, which comes within a minute or less than a minute, which comes through, then it doesn't make sense. That unless you are telling us that there was a telephone call in between where you discussed other matters, then it will make sense that, well, you were saying that's great news because you're referring to something else that you discussed on the phone, which doesn't seem to be the case here. It looks like you were responding to his message that you say you didn't know what it was about.
Can I respond,
yes, please,
Commissioner?
Please.
The issue of the guy that he went to see and help, I didn't know. I don't know. Now, the issue of that's great news, my brother, is in relation to this issue of the risk assessment, that he is able to continue with it.
So even though he doesn't speak to you on WhatsApp about the risk assessment, he doesn't, not on this. We don't have a record of him speaking to you about his visit to the risk assessment person or his meeting with the risk assessment person. You say at page 4, you respond and say, "That's great news, my brother," because you are now talking about the risk assessment person, even though he's not said anything about the risk assessment person.
Yes, Commissioners. I was responding to the issue of the risk assessment, not to the issue of the guy I went to see really helped me. You know, when we talk, Commissioner.
No, before you tell us when you talk, General, let's stick to this.
I was.
No, we need to understand the sequence of your communication with Mr. Matlala. We have a WhatsApp message. You are not denying it. You say, "I did receive it." You say, "I received," where he says, "The guy I went to see really helped." You tell us you don't know what he's talking about. That's at 08:24:21. You say, "I received this message. I don't know what he's talking about, the guy. I don't call him to find out what are you talking about. I don't WhatsApp him to find out what are you talking about." But you respond within less than a minute, because the one is at 08:24, the guy, where he tells you about the guy. You respond at 08:25:46. It's less than a minute. You say, "That's great news, my brother. I'm coming back that side tomorrow, a week." You say that. Now, it doesn't make sense, General, with respect, for you to say, "I was responding to him about the risk assessment guy," when there's no mention of a risk assessment guy anywhere here. It doesn't make sense at all. And it doesn't make sense because it's not true what you're saying. You know what that guy was. That's why you respond, and I put that to you. You knew and understood what the reference to the guy I went to see helped. You understood exactly what that message was about.
I deny that.
And then you in context say, "That's great news." And an attempt to say to us, you were responding to an invisible message about a risk assessment guy when you say that's great news is simply untrue, General. You're being untruthful with us.
I deny that I'm untruthful to the Commission. And that is the interpretation of the Commissioner. But I'm saying I was responding to the issue that we've been talking about earlier, me and him, regarding the risk assessment. Now, the issue of the guy, when you look at it, according to me, it's two things that he was referring to here. Is the guy, is the issue of the project. The project is the issue of the risk assessment. So, Commissioners, I know when you read, you will have your perspective of what it is written here. But with me, I'm telling you what exactly it is that we're talking about, even though you don't see that there is a topic or heading that will say risk assessment or whatever. You'll see as we proceed with the messages, there will be those messages that are not very much clear. But if I recollect, I will assist the commission. If I don't recollect, I don't recollect. But that is what it is, commissioners.
Thank you, Ms. Thank you, General. Thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner. General, you said that as part of the risk assessment, you've given us some other topics of risk assessment you discussed, but also you said part of it was the seizure of the firearms, right? Right? I'm just confirming that because you said that not long ago.
I said that was one of the problems he was having.
Yes,
the
I'm just
seizure of the
confirming
firearm.
that. Yes.
But that you can't mitigate that risk. Because if the police have taken them, there is nothing that one can do.
Right.
Yeah.
So the seizure of the firearms took place by the raid that we referred to in these media articles a moment ago, earlier this morning. The raids by organized crime intelligence, General Commando's people. So you knew about the seizure of the firearms, but you say you didn't know how they were and where they were seized and by whom. That you didn't discuss. All you knew is that they were seized.
I testified before this commission that he informed me about the seizure of the firearms because the DFO, they were coming to do the inspection. They found that something was wrong in relation to the keys. But who are these people? I don't know. He never told me who they are. And even myself, I don't know those people who went to his offices.
So he told you about part of the seizure story, but not all of it.
What do you mean?
You're saying all you know about the seizure of the firearms is what you've told us.
He told me about it, and I'm relating to the commission what he informed me about. And what I told him is in our discussions, I said, if there's nothing wrong with you, let the DFO deal with his job.
Okay, let's move on back to the media reports. We were looking at December, and then you'll see on page 37, 5 January 2025. And here the heading is Tender Tycoon withdraws application against SAPS to have Rolex, guns returned. You see that?
I see it, commissioners.
Okay. You stick to your version that you didn't know anything about this.
Correct, commissioners.
Okay. Then we go to page 42. Now this is where you say now you did become aware of the media. And this is on 5 March 2025.
Page 40?
Page 42.
2. I'm there.
Okay, so this is the article that was sent to you by Mr. Matlala on 5 March 2025. Okay.
What is the question, Advocate?
I just want to make sure you're there. Are you at page
Yes.
42?
Yes, I am at page 42.
Okay, all right. So the first paragraph, and let me just start with this.
Sorry, commissioners. You, Advocate, I wanted to understand something that I missed.
Yes, yes, General.
Commissioner's advocate says this article, Mr. Matlala sent it to me. That's what you said?
Correct.
Am I correct?
Yes.
On the 5th of March.
Correct.
Advocate Hassim, can you please do the necessary cross-referencing? I also had similar questions in my mind. That is, refers to where Mr. Matlala is sending.
Oh, okay. That's fine. No problem.
Yes.
It's page 27 of the exhibits file 1 of 3. It's the one you already have open, Chair. It's the WhatsApp conversation.
Advocate Hassim, the issue I think seems to be that General Senona says he's the one who sent it, not the other way around. So maybe if you can just clarify
I see.
that. I think that's the...
Sorry, no, I mean that you sent to Mr. Matlala.
Commissioners, I wanted to indicate that that is not correct. This is the article I have sent to Mr. Matlala. So
you sent, okay.
I see that, Commissioner, what is happening, but thank you very much for clarification.
Oh, thank you. So I still needed the cross-reference.
No problem, Chair. I'm glad to be of assistance. So it's page 27. That is the article that you sent to Mr. Matlala.
I never.
Yes?
Yeah, this is the article.
Yes, and that is reproduced at page 42 in the media bundle.
Yeah, the way Commissioners, it is reproduced here, I didn't have this context. But my context,
there it is.
It's gone. No, my context is depicted in page 27 of the exhibit bundle.
Yes.
The context that I forwarded to him. But this is what I've sent to Mr. Matlala. But this one that is depicted here on page 42 of media clips, I didn't see this, but it seems maybe they went further to check other things and found also the photo.
No, I'm sorry, General Senona. That article is a copy of that. If you click on that link, News 24, that article.
Yeah.
So we provided you with this. It's exactly the same. If you copy and paste the link that you sent him into a web browser, this is the article, and we printed it out for you, and it's at page 42.
I don't dispute, Commissioners, that I have sent this thing, but I utilize a phone, not a laptop. Hence, I'm saying this picture never appeared before me when I sent him this picture. But I just read this one. You see this one on the page 27 of bundle of documents. So I'm not saying I didn't send it, but I'm saying what I have sent is depicted here on the bundle of exhibit. What is this?
Yes,
General Senona, can we please be serious? In paragraph 72 of your statement, you say, I will admit that the News 24 article concerned me. So you must have seen the article because you are referring to the article. In whatever format, whether it was on a phone or on a laptop or in a newspaper, you must have seen the article.
I don't dispute me sending the article. When it appears on me, it was like this. But hopefully, the advocate explained. You went, you click, you browse, you do that, and this comes out. Because when you look at it, the one on the bundle, it says how tender magnate handed 360 million police deal to place holder director. And then that is when I started to have that concern, and then we started to talk over the phone.
Yes, and that's exactly what it says at page 42 of the media. If you look at the article, it says how tender magnate handed 360 million police deal to placeholder director. It's the same article.
Okay.
Do Do you see that?
I see that. Yes.
Okay. Is there anything else?
No, I'm fine.
Can we deal with the article now?
We can.
Thank you. So let's look at the article. The first paragraph, again, there's the summary in bold, right?
Correct.
The first paragraph reads, Vusimuzi Matlala, a businessman and entrepreneur allegedly linked to Tembisa Hospital extraction syndicates, was first identified by whistleblower Babita Deokran 3 weeks before she was killed. So you said you didn't know about this. The only thing that you knew on the 5th of March was this issue about the director, a change in directors. You didn't know anything else about Mr. Matlala's criminality. Do you recall that you said that?
I said I
Alleged.
I said,
Alleged at this stage. You said criminality.
Well, criminality in the sense of a criminal conviction, and yes, alleged criminality in the context of this article.
Commissioners, when I responded to this, I said this had to do with the changing of a directorship of a company that the police has given him, and then why changing the directorship? And then we had engagement.
Yes, so I'm saying that's right. That's what you said. You said all that you were aware of, all that concerned you was that issue of the directorship. Right? So you're confirming that.
No, you want me to respond, but that is your inference. I'm saying when I testified, I said I saw that he changed the directorship of this, and then we had conversations about this.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
What I'm saying to you is, when I asked you whether you had knowledge of other alleged criminality of Mr. Matlala, you said all that concerned you at this time, all that you knew about, was this 5 March article that dealt with the issue of this director replacement. Do you remember that?
I remember that, Commissioners.
Thank you. But I'm saying to you, General, that the article says a lot more than just raising this issue of the change in directors. In the very first paragraph, it talks about Mr. Matlala being linked to the Tembisa Hospital extraction syndicates. Do you see that?
I see that, Commissioners.
The second paragraph says, while under investigation by the SIU and Hawks,
I see that.
Matlala landed a 360 million rand tender. And then it says, on the same day, News 24 exposed him as the controversial controlling mind behind the company. He resigned his directorship and was replaced. Now, General, it's not true that you didn't know about these other activities, these other allegations against Mr. Matlala, isn't that so?
Commissioners, if they clicked on this article and went further and this came out, I must admit that I did read this. Now I recall, because the advocate is talking about these things that are listed here. When you click and go further, it is important that you sometimes be made to recall certain things. But if you recall, you must say it and assist the commission. That is why when you look at my affidavit, I said this thing became too wary of me with the relationship. And then we had serious engagement there. So then maybe there and there, I became aware, and we had serious deliberations, me and him.
And you now know that your own organization is investigating him.
I now know, yes.
No, you knew it on the 5th of March.
Yes.
Because it said so in this article.
This is from the news clip, but I was not privy to the content of the investigation. It is this clip, I became aware here, but it is not within my own space, my own organization, yes.
I'm sorry, what do you mean it's not within your own space? When you saw this article and you see you are the provincial head of the Hawks in KZN, your friend is being investigated by the Hawks. What did you do about that?
Hence, I said I became wary, and then I started to withdraw gradually my relationship with the commissioners.
Did you make any further inquiries within the Hawks about these allegations against Mr. Matlala?
I didn't do any further inquiries with that.
Why not?
It's not a common practice unless you are privy to the investigation, as I indicated earlier, that when we sit in the National Project Committee forum, they discuss certain things, and this specific project was never discussed there. And then normally, even if I have certain things that I'm dealing with, that the investigation is within that province, we don't do that. We allow them to continue with the investigations.
Yes, but this concerns Mr. Matlala, who is a friend of yours.
I agree, it concerns him.
Right. So do you think it's appropriate as the provincial head of the Hawks to continue your association with Mr. Matlala in these circumstances that this article exposes?
I told the commission already that from there I grew wary. I started to move away gradually. And I must indicate that, you see, what you were saying, what the advocate was saying, commissioners, that why I didn't inquire from the Hawks and everything. If I did that, today it will amount to interference. Because you see a newspaper clip, you phone the Hawks, then what will be your questions about that? It will amount to interference. Sometimes when people are being investigated, let the law take its course. And then without you interfering. Because some of the things that I'm accused of here, commissioners, is just I protected Mr. Matlala, utilized my office to protect him. If now I'm compelled to say why you didn't do this, I didn't do it because some of the things today, if it happened, it will amount to interference and protection.
No.
Commissioners.
General Senona,
yes,
it's a simple case of saying, what is the investigation about? Because I don't want to be associated with somebody who's involved with serious criminal activity. That's all it is. You're not interfering with the investigation. You're simply distancing yourself from somebody who's being investigated for serious crime. It's as simple as that. Why do you assume that it would have amounted to interference?
It is because...
Before you answer, can I please just add on to the Commissioner's question? Okay. Because more than that, in your position, you could have provided assistance to the Hawks investigation because of your proximity to Mr. Matlala. Now you can answer both.
Commissioner, that under the context that the Commissioner has explained now, it never crossed my mind. Because normally, when investigations are happening, it is on a need-to-know basis. And that is why I said the issue of confidentiality is paramount somewhere in my affidavit. So when one picks up a phone and asks you about an individual that is under investigation with another province, it raises suspicions that what is this person, what does he want to know about this? We don't do that normally, unless if the PCMC has picked it up and linked this investigation to another province, then you can start to engage. So that, under the context of the Commissioner, it never crossed my mind to do that. I didn't take it in that way. I just left it so that they can investigate free.
And
fair.
the article mentions 2 other offences. Advocate Hasim has mentioned 3. The 4th one is that Matlala was questioned by the police and his business and home were raided. 5, Matlala's business won a contract using falsified information.
Yes, Commissioner. What is the question, Commissioner?
So you can see that he's being investigated by the SIU, by the Hawks, by the SAPs, and you continue to associate with him. In fact, you continue to assist him in his business ventures.
If we look after the 5th of March on the WhatsApp commissioners, I have indicated in my affidavit that I became wary of his conduct, and from that time, I started to withdraw. Maybe, I don't know how to put it, but after that, I started to withdraw. Slowly to go out of this relationship, commissioners.
I think that's not correct. We will go through that, but let me just say, first of all, that is not a candid response, because what we know, and we spent some time on yesterday, is that you were part of a meeting on the 15th of April, well over a month after receiving this article, reading this article. You were in a meeting in which you were trying to assist Mr. Matlala with his contractual problems. That doesn't indicate somebody who is withdrawing. Wouldn't you agree?
Commissioner, I deny that I was assisting him. He asked me to accompany him. And accompanying somebody does not necessarily mean assisting. And there, his issues, he was talking to General Kwanazi. And I didn't arrange that meeting. I've testified and stay in my affidavit. I don't think it is fair if I'm told that I was assisting, whereas the man himself said he asked me to accompany him there. My interpretation of accompanying does not go.
General, is this not engaging in semantics now? You have said from March you began distancing yourself, and that culminated in you cutting him off, and that's from March. And now you say that him asking you to accompany him is not assistance. Let's say you spoke isintu and said, "Ndicela undikhaphe ngikupa utsamayele nna." I'm going to see. Okay, let's say even the rest, which is in English now, was also in Sesotho or Setswana or Sepedi. I'm going to see, or I'm going to meet General Mkhwanazi. So that's a request. Ndicela undikhaphe ngikupa utsamayele nna. Agreeing to that, that's assistance. It's something that he wants, so that's assistance. I think you are engaging in semantics to try to say you are not assisting him.
General, in fact, in your statement, it's more than just accompanying him. In your statement, you say, in fact, in your statement, it's more than just accompanying him. In your statement, you say, I went to give him moral support. So it's more than just Kappa, to use the chairperson's language. You're going to give him support. That's to assist him.
That's assisting.
I believe that is the interpretation of the
It's not an interpretation. It's not
Sorry.
an interpretation. That's what you yourself say.
But
It's your language. It's your language, General. Let's not debate that. When you put it down that way, you said Mr. Matlala had requested I accompany him for moral support, as he was not comfortable meeting alone at that stage. It's your words, so you understood the true purpose. At least on paragraph 62, the true according to you, the purpose of you being there was to give him moral support. That is to assist, General.
And that is long after March, when you are wary of him, wary of communications from him. So long after you are continuing to assist. Can you now respond to the question by Advocate Hassim without engaging in semantics, please?
I did accompany him.
And you were rendering assistance, General.
If that is the case, let it be.
And to close this off.
It's your language, your own language. It's not a case of letting it be, General. Your own language. You are going to give him moral support. He asks you to accompany him, and you say you did because you are giving him moral support. That's assisting him, is it not?
Moral support and assisting him with his problems is different, but it's support in terms of the moral assistance, in terms of the moral support. I will agree to that, Commissioners.
That's fine.
Especially because you preface it with assistance with the moral support. So you are assisting.
Thank you.
That's the long and short of it. Correct?
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I wanted to close it off. Sorry, Advocate Hassim. You say in your statement that it was in relation to purchase orders. So it was in relation to his business ventures. It was not just a friendship moral support. It related specifically to his business venture, the purchase orders.
Correct, Commissioner. It was in relation to purchase orders. But it must be noted that I didn't participate in that type of engagement in that meeting, although I was present there. But the meeting was in relation to purchase orders. That is my response there.
So we must basically... So we must basically take what you say about beginning to distance yourself from March already. We must take that with a pinch of salt, and that's an understatement. Do you agree?
It's not an understatement, Commissioner, because we will deal with issues differently as human beings. But me, I was gradually. I have never said I cut, gradually.
And when did you eventually cut? If you ever did, when did you eventually cut?
I did, Commissioner.
When?
After, I think just before, it should be, he was arrested sometimes in May, and then you'll see after that meeting with General Mkwanas.
Yes,
So can I be
Sim.
protected if I have
Yes.
to respond? And then, do I have your protection,
Oh,
Commissioner?
sorry, yes, protection
Because,
from myself. Yes,
yeah.
General, you are entitled to it. Thank you
I
very
see
much.
that it seems
You are entitled
I
to it.
look like
And-
an accused
and-
person,
and
so
I-
that's why I'm asking for protection.
And I
Because I
apologize.
understand I'm a witness here.
And I
The
apologize.
witness, thank you, Commissioner.
I
Witness can be
apologize.
chastised, but clarity needs to be given and so
I
forth.
apologize most profusely, most profusely.
Siyabonga baba.
Thank you.
Sorry, is there something else? Because I wanted to ask you a question about still about the support. Can I, before we go anywhere else?
I thought, General, you asked for protection because you were still speaking. So I thought you were going to continue speaking.
Yeah, no, I rather maybe let her talk, commissioners.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't understand the witness to be still speaking. So if you want to say something, please do.
No, I'm fine, commissioners.
Thank you, General. Yes, Ms. Asim.
It might be because I'm looking at you as you asking questions and I didn't see the witness. So You must feel that you've got ample opportunity to provide whatever responses you wish to make, General.
I've already said I'm fine, Commissioners.
Good, thanks. So, sorry, just on this 15th April meeting, it is not just a question of the moral support and being there and the presence. You also assisted Mr. Matlala in the following sense, that you did not report that meeting to the SAPS. Isn't that so?
You said I did not.
You did not report
the meeting to the SAPS.
Yes, you didn't report.
The provincial commissioner was present. To who do I report to? Because I must tell him about the meeting. He was there. Mina, it's me who reported this here at the commission. To show that I've got nothing to hide. It's me who brought this thing here at the commission. The general was here, he never brought this here. So I think that needs to be taken seriously into consideration. Thank you, Commissioner.
That will be, but you testified yesterday about the independence of the Hawks from the SAPS, correct?
Operational independence, Commissioners.
I don't know what distinction you're trying to make, but what I'm trying to put to you is that the Hawks is an independent organization with specific responsibilities. So you bore a responsibility in your position as provincial head of Hawks, quite apart from whatever duties General Mkhunazi bore. Don't you agree?
I don't agree with you because I've testified before this commission about what type of independence is the Hawks having. It is supposed to be a totally independent. I even indicated the Glenister case yesterday. So I don't know what is the rationale of your question that I didn't report this to the police. The provincial commissioner was present in that meeting.
Yes, but you needed to report the provincial commissioner to his superior.
To his superior.
Correct.
Maybe you should have reported me as well to my superiors.
That may be so. I'm not asking about him. He will have his own questions to answer.
I didn't report to him, to his superiors. I reported here at the commission. I waited for my time to come and report it here because whatever was discussed, let me say, the issue of the constitution of this commission is related to certain issues. And then eventually, Mr. Matlala is also part and parcel of the person who's being accused of wrongdoing or being in contravention with the law. So I chose to come and report it here.
But in 15 April 2025, this commission was not in existence. It wasn't even on the horizon.
Absolutely true. It was not in. It was not. It has not yet been established by then. So
no, there was no Madlanga Commission on the 15 April 2025. There was no reason for you to think that there was going to be a commission where you could come and then report. Why did you not report it at the time?
Commissioners, reporting a meeting to my superiors, and then what was I supposed to say in that meeting? In the report? Maybe you must assist me because I've already testified yesterday here. You asked me questions about the issue where the general was talking about the case docket of the attempted murder. And then I also gave a response. What was my taking in relation to what transpired there? So what is it that I was supposed to report? That the provincial commissioner met with Mr. Matlala, doing what? I didn't see any need. And then I think, commissioners, I have responded to this question. I didn't report it.
Yes, you didn't report it, I get it. This was after you sent him the article 5 March. That's the context in which I'm asking you this. when you now knew all of these allegations against Mr. Matlala and the problem with this particular contract. But you've given your answer, and I'll accept that.
Can I just ask this, General? Do you not see anything wrong with a business person going to see a provincial commissioner of police and saying to him, if you help me get purchase orders to help my business, I will help you with something? Do you not see anything wrong with that? Because you seem to suggest that this is a normal meeting of people sitting and having drinks and there's nothing to report. He went there to get assistance because he was not getting purchase orders from SAPS. And according to you, he wanted General Mkhwanazi to help him to get purchase orders. And presumably he was going to give General Mkhwanazi something in return. Do you not see anything wrong with that?
Commissioners, I want to disagree with the first statement, that he went to the general to get assistance of the orders and then in return of him giving him something. I'm saying he asked me to accompany him, of which we dealt with that earlier, to the meeting. The main issue that he asked me today, he said what was going to be discussed is the problems with the orders. Now, in the meeting, issues were discussed between him and the general there. And then there was no, I didn't hear, let me put it this way, I didn't hear a conversation that says, help me with the purchase orders, and then I will, in exchange of this. That I heard it, I read it here when they give us the transcripts of Mr. Matlala from the ad hoc committee, that there were questions of that nature. So as for me, I didn't hear that. The only thing that I presented before this commission is the issue of the attempted murder case, commissioners.
No, General, you state it as your knowledge in paragraph 64 of your order, of your statement. You say, my knowledge, however, is as follows. Then you set out the 3 paragraphs. Paragraph 64. And you say, General Mkhwanazi agreed to assist Matlala to get purchase orders from Lieutenant General Nkua. It is there.
I said I disagree with that. He agreed to assist him with purchase order in return of something. That is what the commissioner said. And this one here, I do not disagree with it. It is there. I don't disagree with this one. And it must be also remembered that it is not me who arranged this meeting. Maybe Mr. Matlala will come and clarify who arranged the meeting before this commission.
Let's leave it there.
Are you moving away from this article? I'd like to ask a question.
I'm not moving away from this issue. Are you wanting to ask something about the article, Commissioner?
Yes, it's about the article.
Go ahead.
General, how did you testified earlier that you don't monitor the media, and that's your explanation why you didn't become aware of the full details of the whistleblowing, what it was about, and in particular that Mr. Matlala's company was one of the companies on which Ms. Diokeren blew the whistle. You explained I don't monitor the media. You become aware of this article. It's of sufficient interest to you to send to Mr. Matlala that you're discussing now with Ms. Hassam. How come you became aware of this article?
I happened to be on News 24 on that day just to check. I clicked there, and then the media came. The media thing came. That's how I happened to know. But okay, I normally don't go in and out of this media space because
This was not the only day. It wasn't the first time that you just randomly went on to News 24. It's something that you would do from time to time.
there were days before that I didn't have it because you are subscribing. And some of these issues, when you are not subscribing, it will appear, but when you click on it, it doesn't open. So I think in the previous year, I was subscribing, but it will happen that when I see something that of interest, because when you go to your WhatsApp, you deal with it. Sometimes you go to your what you call News 24 commissioners.
So sorry, finish. You can finish.
So as a result of that, I happened to find this one.
Okay. So in this period, you were subscribing.
Correct.
There was subscription.
Correct.
Okay. And in that period, you, from time to time, would check News 24 and if you check others as well.
Not necessarily from time to time, but you will find out that when time permits, you will go there.
Yes.
Yeah. Not always. A day or 2 or 3 might pass for me not looking into that.
Yes, all I'm checking with you is this was not the only time when you saw this article. This was not the only time that you happened to check News 24.
It was the only time when I saw this newspaper clip. Yes, it was not the only time me checking News 24.
All right. No, thank you. That answers my question. What is it about this article when you sent it to Mr. Matlala? What was the reason about the content of this article that made you send it to Mr. Matlala?
It made me worry.
No, I mean the subject. Because as Ms. Hassim has read to you, the subject, the lines, at page 42, it raises different issues. What in fact did you have in mind, or did you consider that made it worthy sending to Mr. Matlala?
I was worried about what was in the newspaper clip. Oh, no, sorry, not newspaper, on the News 24. I beg your pardon.
Yeah.
And that is where I challenged him about the content of that.
So you when I'm trying to understand whether, when you say you were worried about the article and you challenged him, did you talk to him about him being part of extraction syndicates, as this article says that he was identified as that? Is that a matter that you challenged him about, to use your language? There's also the investigation by the SIU. Did you challenge him about that in your discussion with him? And then there's the directorship issue. I'm trying to understand, did you cover all of those with him?
I asked him in relation to the directorship and as well as the stories about his company.
Okay, you didn't ask him anything about the Babita Deokaran whistleblowing connection?
No,
that's in the article.
This one of the Babita Deokaran, I didn't ask him because the people were already arrested and convicted who committed the murder.
So you didn't ask him, why do they connect you to this? I'm not asking you about the people that killed him. I'm asking you, you forward an article that's a story about the business of Mr. Matlala, and that includes that he was implicated, his company is part of the companies that are implicated in the whistleblowing. And I'm trying to understand that part you did not ask him about. You didn't say to him, what is this about? I'm just trying to understand that.
I don't recollect if I asked him or not, commissioners.
Okay.
But what worried me too much here, because the issue of the investigations by the Hawks and SIU, I saw it here. But the issue is that this thing of tender fraud of the police, and then you automatically change to directorship, and also these things, in my own perspective alone, that something is not right here. That is why I indicated in my affidavit that I decided to gradually start to reverse in terms of our, if I may use that word, relationship.
What worried you about the change of directorship? I mean, directorships change every day. And when I read this article, it's not obvious to me why you, General Senona, would be concerned that Mr. Matlala has decided to put Ms. Masete as a paper director, as they describe her in the article. Why is that a matter of concern that, in fact, makes you start withdrawing from him?
It was also these crimes, although I didn't ask him about it. These crimes that are listed here, Commissioner.
Okay, so it's the crimes
that are listed here.
The Babita Diokeren matter, the fraud on the tender.
There's investigations that are underway by these institutions.
Yeah, including that tender, the 360 million tender, there are fraud accusations about it.
The police one?
Yes.
Correct.
That also concerned you?
Correct, Commissioner.
Okay, and yet it is the same tender that you attended a meeting with General Mkhwanazi to give him moral support to get payment for. Do you not see a problem with that?
At that stage, I never saw a problem, Commissioners.
All right. Thank you, General.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ms. Assi.
Thanks, Commissioner Beloy. Just to round up on a couple of things before there's quite a bit to get through. But first, Commissioner Khumalo referred to this meeting as being one of an exchange, meaning a help with the purchase orders in exchange for something. And you say you were not aware of that kind of an exchange of favor, tit for tat, if I recall correctly. You said you were not aware of that.
I specifically said, Commissioners, I was not aware of an exchange of assisting with getting order forms in exchange of you getting something. I specifically talked about that.
Yes.
But the one that I am aware, it is there in paragraph 64.3 of my statement that I've already testified about.
Okay. There's one other that comes up in evidence of Mr. Matlala before the ad hoc committee. So I now need you to open another folder, and that is file 3 of 3.
I must close this one.
No. We're coming back to these other two.
But if I close, sorry, Commissioners,
do
if
you
I close it, will you direct me to where we are supposed to?
But we will be coming back there. Do you need some assistance?
You may close it, General.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Yeah, just put it aside somewhere close by.
File
3 of 3.
Three of three. Yes.
Page 54.
Thank you.
Just to begin with, so I can orientate you, General, page 1 of this file shows you that this is the transcript of the evidence of Mr. Matlala before the ad hoc committee on 26 November 2025. Okay? But the relevant part is on page 54. and it's 3 paragraphs from the bottom, 5 lines, if you count from the bottom. And it's, so if you count 5 lines from the bottom, it's probably easier.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
It starts with Advocate Arendse.
Okay.
You've got that?
Yeah.
Thanks. Okay, so Advocate Arendse says the following to Mr. Matlala. He says, but according to your statement, that is Mr. Matlala's statement, the true reason for the meeting, and the meeting here is the 15 April meeting, was in relation to this chap, Ismail Malude Ramos Nangi, to convince him to withdraw the charges because he had been assaulted. That was the true purpose of the meeting, according to you? Question. Mr. Matlala responds, to drop the charges, yes, and also about Nkua, to not stop my contract from operating. So, but let's just finish reading this exchange because it implicates you. Because the next thing Advocate Arendse says is, do you know or did you know General Senona, head of the Hawks in KZN? Mr. Matlala says, I know him very well, very well. And then he explains your relationship, which is consistent with what you've described. Okay. Then if you go down on page 55, there are no line numbers, but let me count it. 15 lines from the bottom.
It starts with?
Advocate Arendse, you mentioned in paragraph that.
Okay.
You see it. He says, you mentioned that you met with Mr. Nangi as instructed by Lieutenant General Mkunazi and tried to convince him to withdraw the charges. Nangi advised that he was not alone in the matter and that his brother-in-law could not speak due to torture. And then he continues, Mr. Matlala says, yes, that's true. And then if you go down 7 lines from there, you see still same page, 55.
From Advocate Arendse, you mentioned in paragraph so.
Yes,
from there.
and yes, that you met with Mr. Nangi.
Okay.
And then if you go down further 7 lines.
7.
Yes.
It starts with?
Advocate Arendse. Then you say you communicated.